The democracies of France during the revolutionary period were made up of the Eiffel and the Nexus Union. So, under the Eiffel Union, there would be a minotaur of state sanctions that begin at the unity of a regiment. So under regiments, there are placebos that order Invexis upon Invexis to instate Cinazole as if it is a mixture rather than a state. And state unions are a preamble to abolishing fixtures on themselves. So this creates an encirclement upon the Hegelian dialectic. So if there's a circle on a object, objects are worships as system and science rather than unity and linguistic. So linguistics are preaching weight and class as if it is some kind of totalitarian function of itself rather than the function of itself by itself. So, as the function is integrated, it creates a network of houses that lower themselves on a straight edge. So these straight edges are compiled of these nexuses, and they have object features to each class subordinating one on top of the other. So, to understand why an object is worshipped under these systems, we have to understand why there is a revolutionary period at all, and that is for the mass mummification effect of a zombie. So to mummify a zombie, one must not only integrate himself onto a Turkish state, the state has to compile a record of all those integrations. So this is how a feature is made out of a human, because it is a abscess of objects rather than the object themselves. And that is how a government sponsors a terror campaign from the source of its offspring, because the source is the compiled unit of the individual sanction, while the entire loan is object oriented to the state house. And the houses are voted upon who gets to be Robespierre of the noble class, which would be the ordering of a placard rather than a union. So these classes are actually Robespierres into the adjustments period between who gets to be a civil rights and a civil leader activist. So civil rights activists always control the state. They never delete it. So if you control the state as a civil rights activist, not only do you adjudicate law, law is justification for understanding. And this understanding symbolizes who gets to be the Union placard under a flag. And flags are objects to themselves that do not replace but overshadow the invexus. And that only makes the lighting of the torch, which is the caste system under the placard, the understanding of learned education. So as learned education grows, academia forms to violate these rights under a Voltaire. So Voltaire would introduce the simple union that one must obey to get to algebraic functions. And algebraic functions are the x's and y's that cross section a diploma of differential calculus. And these calculuses are not just integrations, they're actually symptomatic of an equation. So to be an equation under this system, not only do you have to get rid of the placard has to stand on its own. So if you don't get a simple mechanism to adjudicate who owns such placards, not only does the name get erased, you have to sign on again for union control, which is to marginalize a thesis all over again. So to marginalize a thesis, not only do Napoleonic errors form to dismantle government, the government has to require you to learn on your own. And these requirements are education merits, yes, but there are also national assemblies with the people. So people get to choose who gets to be voted on, while the state destroys who gets to have a chance at rebellion. And rebellion would be a cause and a linkage to who gets to be a Washington and a Waterloo. So these Waterloos are the cross sections of all systems combined, while a Washington would be a standing front of armies that deny patriots the right to have a degree. And degrees are dismantled upon the estate system to the placard system all the way to calculus. And then a object must be worshipped for a union to cross over to its section, which would be to be an assembly member in a congress.